Welcome to the Haymaker MMA show with your hosts, Teixeira and Ian Wall.
So just about 2 fucking minutes after John Anik, a man who can say and do no wrong, who just has great analysis and is always on point. About 2 minutes after he says, "I don't want to jinx it." It's 29-2 for favorited fighters to underdog fighters to win in the records since. Forget which fight card he said, but that's a lot of goddamn fights. What's that, 31 fights, and 29 of the favorites have won, and only 2 underdogs have won on the flip side. Then I got money on BOSER, the BOSER boy. Everything's riding on BOSER as the lock, the keystone of all my parlays. And a couple bucks on Teixeira to get it done by KO, which he almost did. And, of course, the curse of fucking John Anik comes in, takes my money right out from under me with the Arlovsky decision win and the Glover Teixeira at, 36, getting the hammer down. Always eat shots in the first round, but, again, just taking money right out of my kid's mouth that I don't have. But I don't know. What about you? You lose any bucks on the night tonight?
Yeah, so Tanner Boser was the last leg of my parlay too, and my fucking man John Anik, the former Bullet, the legend, he just jinxed us, man. As soon as he said it, I was like, oh damn it.
I said it to the boys too. I said it to the boys too. I knew it. I said, fuck Anik, why? And just
I said it to my boy too, and I was like, dude, I think he just jinxed us, man. And then it actually happened, but yeah, so that was the last leg of my parlay, Tanner Boser. I really thought he would come out hot, but it just didn't work out for him.
And credit to Arlovsky for being as old as he is and as many miles on the clock as he is. He's still pulling out victories, so credit to him too.
Absolutely. So, yeah, man, that was looking great. I had like a 5-part parlay, and Boser was literally the last one, and I also took him by knockout in another one. We was so high on him. Everyone, just not just you and me, but like everyone who predicted or called for these fights said, all right, Boser's going to look good. He's going to get it done in style maybe and maybe not. But just he's going to get it done, though. That was the consensus for this past weekend, but unfortunately it didn't.
That's the problem with the MMA math there. On paper, he should have everything on paper. He absolutely should have got the win, should have been more productive, should have gotten everything done, and unfortunately it doesn't always add up. Wasn't ready to perform in the spotlight.
Not doesn't always add up. It fucking never adds up.
Never adds up. You're right.
Yeah, it's such a hard sport to call and predict, but no matter, man. We still love John Anik, all right?
Absolutely.
We fucking love him. All right, so, and then we said about the Glover Teixeira performance against Thiago Santos. I obviously picked Santos to win by knockout. I'll give you 2 parts of my explanation, one that was really good and one that was not so good. So I said that if they're standing up, Santos is going to crack him, and he's going to put him away. He did crack him, but he couldn't put him away. I don't know. He ate. So rounds 1 and 3, he put him on his back with shots, like I think it was a punch, and then he followed up too. But Teixeira, man, Teixeira just grabbed his legs and took him down. So the thing that was the right thing that I said, and what I said that was wrong was if John Jones couldn't take Santos down, I don't know if Teixeira can. But Teixeira just fucking shows all the heart and skill that he has. Grabs a single leg, double leg, slams Thiago Santos not once, not twice, 3 times in 3 rounds. I think the second round was a 10-8 for me. And then even after being rocked, he does all these things, gets Santos tired, and then chokes him out, man. Unbelievable. He's a fucking savage. I'd have to say that.
Just an enigma of a human. He's old, he's Brazilian, he lives in like a little town in Connecticut, which has like 400 people to it. It's more than that, but just very weird that he's still pulling off these great, seems to be just getting better and better, not getting dull. And it seems every fight, it's starting with the Ion Cutelaba fight and maybe a couple before that, but every fight since then, he gets clobbered or hit by some hammers in the first round and first couple of rounds, but always finds a way to catch a leg, get on their back, and dude's got some of the most underrated grappling ever. Glover Teixeira is a scary-ass man. He's a dude that, it takes him to get hit, like Dominic was saying, you almost don't want to hit him too hard because he just turns into a fucking bear after that. And I totally agree. Doesn't seem to he should just go for that grappling to begin with, but he doesn't seem to fall back on it until he gets really hammered by somebody.
I mean, it's working, so why change it, right?
Hey, I feel you, but maybe
If
not.
it's not broken, why fix it?
Maybe not get dropped in the first and third and just do it out of the gates in the first. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, he was fantastic, man. I have so much respect for him. 41 years old, just only getting better, ready for that title shot. He deserves it. And yeah,
He looks strong and heavy. That's something that I feel like I don't see out of John Jones. And just as the historic light heavyweight champion, that low key I would as a hardcore fan would be a little bit interested in seeing how the Glover Teixeira of 2020 and John Jones of 2020 would play out. Hopefully Glover would let it all hang out. But just stylistically, he looks so strong and so big for the light heavyweight. Thiago looked small and not strong, and as a young, youthful kind of bull that he is, I was really surprised to see him kind of get thrown around by the old head in Teixeira.
no, I thought Thiago looked strong, but I think Glover made him look not very strong. That was the thing. He's like, dude, you can punch the shit out of me, but I'm gonna keep coming. I'm gonna grab you and take you down. And we gotta mention that Thiago Santos also just came back from a terrible leg injury. He had surgery, and he hasn't fought in almost 500 days because of it. And Glover's a tough guy to come back to.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. The vets had a great card today last night with the Teixeira, Arlovsky, and then Darren Elkins. The vets are getting some W's last night. Good for them. I'm always happy to see some of the old fellas that are cut from a kind of different cloth than the modern day guys get some W's. To shout out to Darren Elkins especially. That's a dog. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about his fight in a little bit.
All right, so the co-main event was obviously our man, the one everyone was riding on, Tanner BOSER, taking on another 41-year-old in Andrei Arlovsky, the former heavyweight champion. When I say former, it's like 10 years ago.
Many moons ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. BOSER came in, but I think he was a little gun shy. He kicked his leg a lot, which I liked it a lot at the start, but then he didn't do much after it.
He pushed out. Tanner BOSER pushed out.
I'm not gonna say that because
I'm gonna say it because he's not. It wasn't fucking Andrei Arlovsky didn't scare him that he fucking pushed out for it. He pushed out and he said it in the preview, and I went, oh no. He said, I don't want to let all the having a big favorite betting odds or whatever. I don't want to let everyone down, so I'll see what I didn't like that, but I'll see what I can do. And I was like, fuck, Tanner BOSER, this might not look good. And I think that more than anything, not just the betting odds, but being a co-main event, he's like that old that old school Canadian trailer parky type deal where he's got one tooth. He doesn't like to be the man and the favorite, and he works well as the underdog when nobody expects him. But he's been clobbering motherfuckers, so now people are seeing that he's really good, and he didn't have that position in this fight. He was the favorite. He was the man that people knew and expected him to win, unlike his other fights where, he could sneak up on people, and I think that really got to him and lost me every fucking dollar in every bet I fucking made. I had so much faith in him, and I am maybe in a couple days I'll cool down, but I'm so fucking disappointed in Tanner BOSER.
Yeah, dude, I understand the cautious approach. He did say that, I just want to get the win.
He kicked his legs 3 times.
Yeah,
he wasn't even he had 36 punches. It's not even being cautious. You're the co-main event. Let it bang, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call him a pussy because I'm not going in there with any of those savages.
Yeah, I feel it. Tanner can kick my ass, but
Andrei Arlovsky punch or a spinning back fist to the face. But yeah, he was very cautious. He didn't turn out like any of us expected him to. Ruin parlays.
Just win me some money. More than anything, just know I bet on you and win me some money, Tanner. God damn it.
Yeah. But I liked Arlovsky. His chin held up. He didn't get caught too much, but he was still, he was waiting for that counter. He landed some strong, heavy punches on BOSER. BOSER was a little shook by it. And, yeah, I think, what do you think about the decision? 29-28 Arlovsky. Do you agree with that?
I gotta agree
maybe
with
yes,
it.
Maybe yeah.
I gotta agree with it. He just didn't, on paper, maybe even more judges would say, well, he landed more strikes and the leg kicks and blah, blah, blah. But Arlovsky just did more damage. He won that fight. And it hurts me in my balls to say that because, like I said, I lost every fucking penny on Tanner BOSER. But you got to give credit to Arlovsky. If he doesn't have a career as a fucking Russian villain in some spy movies later on in his career, he should fucking retire. I guess he doesn't realize that could be a good avenue for him, but he better do that shit.
2 wins in a row. Why retire?
You're not
get knocked out. Maybe make a run, man.
Hey, but like you pointed out in the Who's Gonna Win this weekend, you're absolutely right. The only people he's gotten knocked out by are fucking Rosenstruck, Ngannou, Stipe,
all the savages.
Exactly, just some bombers. So yeah, good for Arlovsky.
I agree with that. Arlovsky had way more damage, even though BOSER was had the forward pressure. I'd give it to Arlovsky. A lot of people were this and that, but I give it to Arlovsky. I was really hoping that BOSER won just to make that.
Hit those parlays, right?
But no, I don't. Yeah.
What about Raoni Barcelos? Really impressed me, along with Khalid Taha. Like I said, those dudes off the PED, what do you call it? Suspensions usually are a little more gun shy, have a little less in the tank after that testosterone levels drop and all the shit that comes along with coming off of the PEDs. But you got Raoni Barcelos, also a dog without the PEDs. But both of them really impressed me. What'd you take from this one?
So yeah, fight of the night at bantamweight. Barcelos, man, he's so good. He was so fast. He was fucking landing on point. He was clipping him, and Taha just kept coming back. He would not go away. And Barcelos, Kenny Florian said this on the Anakin Florian podcast, and I'd said that to a couple of my friends on Saturday night. He said that Barcelos looked like the younger Aldo, just walking him down, and I called him the darker Aldo. But Barcelos also mixed down some beautiful takedowns and some groundwork. I think if it was anyone but Khalid Taha, maybe you'd have gotten a knockout or a TKO. Taha hit him with some good shit, made him tired towards the end, and I don't know, but 30-27 Barcelos was a good decision and great fight, deserved fight of the night for sure.
Dude, I fucking love that take, the dark Jose Aldo. That's too funny. And you're totally right. He reminds me of a WEC Jose Aldo or early UFC Jose Aldo. You're totally fucking
just
spot
like walking
him
down with the shoulders high.
With how he holds his hands, you're too accurate. But dude's a dog. I'm realizing more and more there's so many. You know, you look at the NFL or the NBA or whatever, these American centralized sports, right? But then you get the MMA or combat sports where it's all over the world, and you're realizing now in the UFC, even though it's an American-based promotion, that there's some of these dudes that they don't speak English or they don't necessarily do well in the American or English-speaking spotlight or media. But they're just fucking killers, dude. They're clobbering people. Some of the Russian dudes who have gotten more traction because of Khabib and gotten more spotlight because of Khabib, but because they don't speak English, they don't have too many followers, but they're beasts. They're dark horses.
Animals.
And Raoni Barcelos is definitely one of them. He just looked elite, dude, in every facet, from grappling, offensive wrestling to submission skills and jiu-jitsu to his kickboxing against a guy like Khalid who's got fucking bombs in his hands. He ate him, he gave him back, and that's how you beat those guys who don't have the most skill but have great power. He just out-techniqued him. It was a beautiful performance. Great job, Raoni Barcelos.
Fantastic fight. I'll give you a crazy stat about the international fighters. So in every division, men and women in the UFC, there's just one champion from the United States, and that is Stipe Miocic.
I saw that.
That
the
is
dog.
insane.
And
that just shows like the spread of talent all over the world, man.
All over the world. And I'll tell you what, as a Stipe fanboy, his number one fan, I love that. Love that fucking man. He's what I want.
Your sandals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll show you guys one of those. Maybe I'll slap a picture up here. But that made me happy because I know he's a dog and withstands the test of time. But that's amazing. That's crazy. I always like to say, too, in a world that we live in 2020 and everything going on, I always like to say that mixed martial arts is the ultimate counter to racism. You got the freaking the Africans, the Asian people, the hills of Dagestan, Kazakhstan, Americans, Canadians, Mexicans, all of Brazilians, and you can't know who's going to win on any given night. There's not one person that runs, or one kind of region that runs the table and everything. And just what you just said is a great kind of example of how much that is true.
And if you have a problem with someone, with all the shit that's going on in the world, you beat the shit out of them.
Exactly, and you figure out the answer.
And money-wise, it's good for the UFC, too, because they have their American fans, but also this helps build around the world, man.
Absolutely.
Like, having a champion from China, especially, like, billion people just rooting for one or two people, and that's fantastic. It's good for the money. It's good in general. Like, it's the best person wins. That's the best part about any competition.
The beautiful part of MMA, especially. Talking about the Chinese stuff ties in with the Yan Xiaonan winning, puts her in a good contention to maybe fight with Weili Zhang after a win over Claudia Gadelha, who's a elite of the elite. Which is beautiful for the Asian market for UFC, tapping into some of that as they've been growing so well in the last couple of years. I threw a couple of bucks on Yan Xiaonan. What do you think of that performance against Claudia Gadelha?
I did too, yeah. I took her money line for sure. And
I didn't fucking win any because I had her in a parlay with Tanner Boser, who shit my bed, but great performance either way.
Yeah, I know. I can feel your pain, honestly, I do. But, yeah, Yan, I thought first round she got taken down. She lost that round, and I was a little worried, but I could just see that she was working harder from the bottom too. She was just swinging her elbows and cutting her up a little bit, doing some damage. And then as the fight went on, her jab looked fantastic. And then she kept her distance, but she kept landing shots, and that made Claudia shoot from far, and that was easier for Yan to stop.
Her distance control, great.
Yeah, distance control was fantastic. And her strikes were great. And, yeah, she deserved a unanimous decision. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I almost want to give her the first round off her back, landing elbows and stuff. It was almost reminiscent of some Bisbing with GSP on top of him. But one of the holes she's kind of going to have to work on and fix in the future, just getting that takedown defense, maybe some more submission offense. She didn't do the worst off of her back. But super impressed. Claudia Gadelha, I'm a big fan of her, but couldn't impose her grappling will. But Yan Xiaonan, like you said, that distance control, that was the key to it all. I don't know how she got. Looking at her other fights, she's got so good at that distance control, so the takedowns, even though it's not necessarily takedown defense, distance control she was mastering. And then one thing Dominic Cruz kept saying is Claudia Gadelha, she kept going for the throws just from a body lock or from the double underhooks. And what Yan Xiaonan was doing, every time she would go for the throw, she would almost shuffle into the way that Claudia was going to throw her, and it just wind up neutralizing the whole thing. And Dominic was saying it. I didn't really understand what he was saying until I saw it happen again. And I was like, oh, great
Dominic
call,
Cruz was money Saturday.
He was money. You know what? Hot take. I don't tend to be the biggest Dominic Cruz fan on the commentary booth, but he had a couple good ones on Saturday.
No, I love his work. I think he just explains it so well, and then you just end up seeing it, and you're like, shit, man, you're right. The ladies are fucking killers. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say something else too. As a couple years ago, the ladies fights were some fucking poopers. There were some damn stinkers out there that didn't fucking do. They weren't fun to watch. And they all went to decision. There wasn't too much danger. But now some of them are some fucking savages, dude. Some of them, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I tell my boys all the time who aren't the most, well-versed in the world, I'm like, I'll tell one, I'll be like, yo, Justin, just so you know, that bitch would beat the shit out of you, man.
Easily.
You would fucking hammer you, dude. So I've been very impressed with how the state of women's MMA, and especially in the UFC in the trajectory of all of that coming in the next couple of years.
I've always liked it. If it's a good fight, it's a good fight. And yeah, before there'd be more decisions. Now there's more either closer decisions or you can just see that they're fucking getting.
I could be wrong on the stats, but I feel like there's more finishes and they're just more aggression, and you love to see it. What about that Giga Chikadze fight?
Another one that my man Dominic Cruz got on the money. He said as soon as the fight started, Giga was being a little cautious. He was like, "Yeah, he's not being cautious. He's just reading him. He's just trying to get a read, and then he's gonna land the strikes and get him out of there. Just watch." So yeah, Giga gave him a leg kick to the he gave him a kick to the body that just slapped. I don't know if you heard it in real time, but that was like a gunshot almost. And then one to the head to put him down. That was like a baseball bat. The one to the head.
Yep.
Puts him down. A couple of punches on the ground, and then good night, Jamie Simmons, man. Unfortunately for him, but Giga looked fantastic.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, I always like to see the short notice guys get a win.
Or get a round or two, man.
Just show some. I think he didn't look that bad. He ate like 9 shots. Unfortunately, the one was the KO. And it was in round 1, but he made it pretty deep in round 1, and it wasn't like he got his ass beat for a while and then ate it. Giga Chikadze, what I say on the Who's Gonna Win this weekend? I knew that Glory Kickboxing on the short notice against a wrestler, hammers that one to the body, like you said, and then comes right up top. As Dom was saying it, he's like gonna put that one to the body, then come up to, he's fucking out cold. And like it was like wood hitting wood, bro. That was a fucked up one to listen to, but I had Giga by TKO and a couple of ones that also had Tanner Boser, who fucked me again. But nonetheless, good job, Giga Chikadze.
Yeah, he reminded me a little bit of the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley. He comes out like that with a few reads, and then he knocks you out in the first round normally. I don't know. I just saw a little bit of that in him. Just such a technically good, sound striker.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of him afterwards, to be honest. He seemed like a little bit of a bastard on the mic, but a little too cocky for my liking.
Sometimes you gotta be a bastard.
I know. I feel
fights,
it.
Man.
You're absolutely right. It's one of the things that it makes me unhappy, but I do understand. But I like to shoot for my soul, so I wasn't the biggest fan of it afterwards. But do your thing, Giga Chikadze. Great performance.
Yeah, go get your money, bro.
Make your money.
You fucking knocked out another human.
I know you're right. You're right.
Yep.
Speaking of TKOs, I ended up actually this is one that I made a couple bucks on. I ended up throwing on Trevin Giles, just because. Like we were saying in the Who's Gonna Win this weekend, had a lot more experience. Bavon looked sharp, but just 2 guys. That looked like a cage fight.
Dude, Trevin Giles' jab was fantastic, man. Like
he's a good ass fighter.
So fast. It was so fast. It was like lightning, just boom, and then he'd step out for a little bit. And then as soon as he realized in round 3 that Bevon was getting tired, he went in for the kill and got it done, man. He gave him a nice combination, got it done. Trevor Whitman, the expert for the night. I loved having him.
Whitman's a man.
Trevor Whitman, coach for Doug Rose, Justin Gaethje, and sometimes Kamaru Usman. He was the expert for the night, so the commentary would refer to him, and he did a fantastic job. He loved what Trevin Giles was doing because he himself is such a good expert on striking. So I love that fight.
Dude, I missed having Whitman in the. I was talking to people and I was wondering what the hell happened to Whitman. Why don't they have Whitman in there? Were people complaining? Were they like, we don't like when he chimes in?
Who would say that?
Yeah, exactly. Because he was great. He just had great insight. Yeah, he was great at kind of explaining it in layman's terms, or I don't know if you were a more casual fan. He was just a good bridge to the more hardcore look into things. So I was so happy to see him back, and I'm a big fan of his fighters and how he kind of talks about how he develops his fighters. And yeah, just another great asset to the commentary team. Loving on Trevin Giles. I live bet on Trevin Giles about 10 seconds into the fight. I just felt the energy, and he's got some pretty good wrestling and grappling credentials too, and to hammer a guy on the feet like Bavon Lewis with some great technical boxing and jabs and mixed in with some crazy power. I think low-key he could be a threat in the future as he cleans up, smooths some edges in his game. So we got King Kong Alexander Romanov with a crazy-ass forearm choke win over Marcos Rogerio de Lima. It was almost reminiscent of, they said it on the broadcast, but I thought of it immediately, like the Von Flute choke and the Ezekiel choke's just one of those crazy, you never see him in the UFC submissions. You get a chance to see that one?
Yeah, oh my god, dude. That was vicious. And Romanov was losing on the feet maybe for like 30 seconds, and then he just bulldozed his way into Rogerio de Lima and got him down, controlled him. Rogerio did well getting up once maybe, and then he got him back down. The forearm choke, man, that is scary, dude. Imagine choking someone out with your forearm just through his throat. That is insane. And yeah, he won performance of the night. Absolutely deserved it. Got him out of there in the first round. That was our picks. He's gonna finish the fight, and now he's 13-0, a real threat in the heavyweight division. I think for sure.
So I will tell you, as a jiu-jitsu white belt before coronavirus fucked all of my life dreams up, that you don't have to be deep in a triangle. You got a big fucker just putting all of his weight on your neck in some crude kind of submission. Shit sucks. And when you got a trained ass King Kong Romanov on top of you, he's been training that kind of thing. He said in the training camp, to put you out like that, it's not. I can understand, and being in a situation or two like that where I'm thinking I'm about to tap to just being smothered by this guy's chest, I can totally understand how he just went the fuck out. Especially in things like a head and arm triangle or even like a Von Flue choke, just having somebody's full body weight pinned against your neck area or even just your diaphragm. Sick that they did it in the UFC, but totally understandable. And you got Marcos de Lima, who wasn't a bitch made at all. He fucking came out to bang, and unfortunately just couldn't stop that shit, which is crazy, but.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be a jiu-jitsu white belt or a black belt to know that shit fucking hurts. That forearm from a 280-pounder on your neck can just.
And what's crazy, it wasn't his throat. It wasn't like a air choke. It was a blood choke. He had it on the side of his neck coming down, and slowly but surely, fucker went out, and cashed on some good Romanov within the distance bets. Or not cash on anything because I had dumbass fucking BOSER in the parlays. But 2020 hindsight.
I don't know. All right, moving on from one vicious finish to another disgusting doctor stoppage. We had Max Griffin beat Ramiz Brahimaj by a TKO. Obviously, it was a doctor stoppage because his ear just started flopping out. And Brahimaj, I think, caught him with an elbow on top. And Brahimaj's ear was almost in two pieces. And as soon as the ref saw it, he stepped in. Good on him. And then, that fight wasn't going anywhere. So that was pretty gross and a correct call. But I wasn't impressed too much with Ramiz because he didn't shoot for a single takedown, man. That was so disappointing. I had him to win by submission. I was getting plus 500 because Brahimaj just finished all eight of his wins by submission. And I thought he's definitely going to – all right, he's going to start shooting now. He's going to go shoot. But unfortunately, he didn't. And, man, he lost on the feet. Max Griffin looked great. He looked fast. He looked strong. And caught him. Put him out of there.
Fucking Moses came down in 2020 and parted the Red Seas of Brahimaj's ear off of his goddamn head. Shout out to Max Griffin on a 4-fight skid. I had Ramiz by submission also, like we said, in the Who's Gonna Win. You got fucking 8 wins, 8 submissions. It's all grappling. He's got a little on the feet, but that's just his entries into his grappling and his takedowns, like in all of his other fights. And just another one, just like the BOSER fight. Just nothing hurts my soul more than when you put some money on some guys in these fights and they just don't do what they're supposed to. They fucking
do what they're good at.
Yeah, exactly. Like shoot your shot. Good at it. I totally get it because if you shoot your shot and you miss, you're getting elbowed in the fucking esophagus. But if you shoot your shot and you make it, you got to make that extra money, or you raise up the ranks, or whatever it is. So it was really
some money for us.
Exactly, it makes some money for your boys, right? You're fucking piping you up, Brahimaj. And what do? You and BOSER are in cahoots backstage. You said, "Yo, Ian tonight put out this fucking show. Let's fuck him with this shit. We're not going to put out anything." And that's what both of them did. Put out nothing from what they were supposed to do. Max Griffin capitalized. He's no slouch. He's got a 4-fight skid, but he's still a fucking fighter. And he did exactly what he was supposed to, just ripping the man's ear off. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and it wasn't like Brahimaj was, he shot and he got stuffed a little bit, so he was disappointed.
He didn't even try.
He didn't try, man. He didn't try.
And that's one you got to be disappointed with looking back. With BRAHIMAJ. And here's the problem also. I didn't realize until late that he was American. These other dogs, these foreign fuckers shoot their shots, bro. They shoot their shots, and I know you can scoff, but I'm telling you.
Is what's his name?
All these Americans are pampered. That's what it is.
Dude, how am I? Darren Elkins, he's pretty American.
I know,
right?
I'm kidding. Hey, what I say, and I'll correct myself. I used to say, be scared of the white dudes who have their names tattooed across their back. If you got your nickname on it either, you know the vibe I'm talking about. They're not the best fighters, but Jesus Christ, you can take his ear home with you, and that fight's not stopping. Just unreal. I'd like to give a couple sentences for Darren Elkins for that too, because another guy on a 4-fight skid, Garagori, who's a good striker, and every time he got his chance, dude, just fucking Elkins he's got the worst striking defense, man. But like that's his whole thing. He gets fucked up, and he's a good wrestler, and he finds a way. He'll never beat an elite guy with his skill set. And I love watching him talk afterwards because he just gets fucking hammered. He's just a beast. No matter who you are, if you're illiterate and you watch that, and you're a caveman or whatever, and you watch that, you know that guy's a dog, and you gotta like him. And then in his post-fight interviews, he's like looking at the ground the whole time. He's like, I got fucking baby. And it's like, oh, Darren Elkins, you're the dog, dude. Just out there on instinct and energy and spirit. So shout out to Darren Elkins. Gotta love him, man. All heart.
Can't say enough about him. Like he got caught so many times.
So many times.
Shot for the
every
legs,
time he
just grinded it out, dude. It was fantastic. It was such a good fight to watch.
And as a huge underdog, what?
Who was? No, I think Elkins was a favorite.
Sorry, as a huge favorite, I meant to say. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And he delivered. Like Garagori was crisp with his striking. Every time he entered, I was like, damn, he got caught with a knee. He got caught with a punch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, he's wobbly now. But he just grab his legs and then go for it. He was like Glover fighting against a less skilled opponent, but just taking shots, dude, and going for the legs.
So, boxing stuff, I don't even know where it came from, but like he's on Queer Street or whatever when they're shaky or got wobbly legs. Darren Elkins is a fucking landlord on Queer Street. He's living there. He's renting out apartments. He lives on that shit. It is not over when he's fucking got wobbly legs. That dude he's never count him out.
Yeah, the damage, man.
The damage.
I'm so happy for him. 7 out of 10 finishes on the entire fight card, prelims and main card, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed having Cruz and Whitman, and as always Anik, even though he might have fucked us over a little bit. I had a great time Saturday.
And somehow,
despite might I add, despite Tanner Boser's fucking calamity.
I don't know how. I end up picking, over 85% of the fights correctly, and then I fucking sucked ball sack at betting shit because what did we predict wrong? Brahimaj didn't fucking perform, and goddamn Tanner Boser didn't perform out of fucking nowhere because of MMA math. Other than that, we were spotless on the night tonight.
And Glover came out like a fucking beast.
You're right, and Glover, but what are you going to do in those fights? When somebody goes out and really fucking gets after it, and absolutely, I had Thiago first, second, or third round. That could have happened in all 3 fucking rounds, so I got no complaints with that. But those other 2, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, that was frustrating as hell. And also, I wasn't pissed about the Santos Teixeira because Teixeira, dude, he just made he almost, all right, dude, I'd lose $20, $10 to that guy any day.
Exactly. I try to explain
that. With that kind of performance, you have my money.
Especially in MMA when it's like heart and overcoming and whatever. It's like, fuck, good fight, take my bread, dude. Yeah. But when you goddamn throw 704 leg kicks and don't land with a single punch, give me my fucking money back, Tanner Boser. Give me my money back.